Hey friends, I'm very excited to be with you today and members of our task force, Paul and Ann, as we talk to you about what we can expect moving forward when it comes to returning to in-person worship. So for a bit of the guidelines, I want to turn it over to Paul.
Well, we've been following the guidelines prepared by the Wisconsin Council of Churches, and they look at statewide and countywide and other numbers. They've set goals for us to try to meet. And fortunately, for the most part, the statewide vaccine numbers and local vaccine numbers are trending in an encouraging direction. And so our church is preparing for a return to in-person worship as soon as we reach the recommendations. The recommendations from the Council of Churches are 50% statewide vaccinations, new cases of only 5 or 10 per 100,000, and positive tests of a rate of less than 10%. Now, as of April 30th, the statewide numbers are like this. 43% of all our fellow Wisconsinites have received at least one dose of the vaccine. 40% in Milwaukee County have received at least one dose, and 25% are fully vaccinated. These are really encouraging numbers. They're a little short of the goals, but right now we're in a surge of positive cases. It's bumped up a little bit lately, but locally and in Milwaukee County and statewide, we're hopeful that if we all do our part, the numbers will continue to improve. This recent surge will go back down. And as a task force, we do encourage one thing. If you haven't had a vaccine yet, we ask you to prayerfully discern getting one as soon as you are able. That's something we can all do to help ourselves and help each other. Lastly, we have met our criteria for positive test results. So currently both the state and Milwaukee County are far under the 10% of new cases set by the Wisconsin Council of Churches. The most faithful thing we can say is that while we cannot safely meet indoors now, we will be gathering together really soon. That's some great news, and we're going to share that news, the details with you today.
So it's very exciting that on the day of Pentecost, which seems very appropriate for gathering together again, we will begin offering outdoor in-person worship services here at WPC, starting on the day of Pentecost, May 23rd at 9:30 a.m. So on behalf of the task force and the session, I am absolutely overjoyed. I'm ecstatic to announce that we will be getting together again real soon, later in this month. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about what to expect, because that's the important part. Now, as the name suggests, we will be outdoors. So, if it rains, worship will be canceled. We'll all be bummed, but it will be canceled. Now, this worship service will not and does not replace our online worship offerings that's uploaded via YouTube, and you're available to grab them off the church website or Facebook or YouTube itself. They will not be replaced. Online worship is going to continue the same way that it has all the way up until this point, even as we begin worshiping outdoors on May 23rd. Now, we've received some very good news lately that the Centers for Disease Control has issued new guidelines, and in consultation with the city of Wauwatosa, we can now welcome as many folks as would like to come and worship with us outdoors starting on May 23rd. See, in other words, we can say that there is no attendance limit. Now, certain seating will be provided for those who have mobility issues, and what we've decided is that if you would like to reserve some of that seating, please contact the church office before those Sundays as we begin to gather. Everybody else is encouraged to bring their own seating, like camp chairs or lawn chairs, with them. We'll still ask that folks maintain a bit of physical and social distance, but we can welcome as many as who'd like to show up. The other good news that came out of the CDC guidelines is that anyone who is fully vaccinated in time for our May 23rd start date is able to participate in our outdoor worship services without having to wear a mask. So those who are yet fully vaccinated, if you've not yet reached full immunity, please wear a mask to participate in services. But regardless of full immunity, anybody who wants to wear a mask should feel free to do so. Now, worship is going to last about 45 minutes. It's going to feature live music. It'll be centered on being together in faith, in worship, in community, and bulletins will be provided. Now, it's important for us to note that just as there's always been, worship is central to the life of this church, to any Presbyterian church. Our worship will be faithful, be meaningful, be relevant to our walk of faith as it's always strived to be, but it will also be different. And that might be jarring at first. We're going to miss things like the choir and hearing the organ. But gathered together, we will still pray together. We will hear God's word together. We will celebrate together. We'll claim God's love and grace for the world together. It will be different in content, but it won't be different in spirit. So I ask for your grace and your trust as we navigate worshiping our worship life together. I'm thankful for the love and support that you all have shared with us about our online worship services, and I know that as we continue to do this together, our worship will continue to be meaningful and hopeful and inspiring, even as we move indoors and as we start outdoors. And so to end our time together, I want to ask Anne to share a little bit of her own personal experience about how we got to this point.
So when the task force started meeting a little over a year ago, I was probably the most pessimistic member. And we spent a lot of time talking about how to have worship indoors safely, moving out hymn books and wiping down surfaces. And I was the one that finally said, why are we even having these conversations? Because we're not going to be getting together again anytime soon. And if we do, I won't be there. But I'm thrilled to be here. We are a year later. I'm fully vaccinated. Paul and Brett sitting with me are fully vaccinated. So many members of our faith community and our broader community are fully vaccinated. And also the science has advanced and our knowledge about coronavirus has advanced. And we know now that being outside is the safest place you can be, and that the risk of transmitting or contracting coronavirus outdoors, if you are not right up in each other's faces, but if you observe some distance between you, it's tiny, it's minuscule. This is a very safe thing that we're proposing, to start worshiping outside until we can gather together safely indoors. So I am thrilled we're at this point and look forward to seeing so many of you outdoors on May 23rd, or at the point where you feel comfortable joining with us. So see you soon.